The words hit me like a punch to the stomach. "I am tired of you, Mom." Just like that. No warning. No kindness. Just cold, hard rejection. I stood there in the hallway of my own house holding a basket of freshly folded laundry. The same house I bought with my own money 35 years ago when my boy was just a baby. The same house where I raised him alone after his father walked out on us. The same house where I worked myself to the bone to give him everything he ever needed. Before we proceed, thank you for watching Granny's narrative. Please subscribe and tell us where you are watching from in the comment. My son Marcus stood in the doorway of what used to be my bedroom. His arms were crossed tight across his chest and his face was set in a hard line. Behind him stood his wife Jessica with that look on her face. That smug, satisfied look that told me she had won. I am 74 years old. That morning I had spent 2 hours on my hands and knees scrubbing their bathroom floor until it shined. My back was aching. My fingers were wrinkled from the hot water and bleach. And this was the thanks I got. "What did you say?" I asked quietly even though I heard him perfectly clear. "You heard me, Ma." Marcus did not even look sorry. Did not even flinch. "I am tired of you being here all the time. This is our house now and you are always in the way. Jessica cannot relax in her own home with you hovering around everywhere." Or home. My house that I bought when he was 3 years old. The house where I raised him by myself after his daddy disappeared one night and never came back. The house where I worked double and triple shifts at the nursing home to keep food on the table and clothes on his back. The house where I saved every single penny so he could go to college and not worry about student loans. "Marcus, baby, this is my house," I said, trying to keep my voice from shaking. "I only put your name on the deed to help you get that business loan, remember? That was 6 years ago when you and Jessica got married. You said you needed it temporarily. Ma, things change." He cut me off like I was nobody. "We have 3 kids now. We need space. You are always here trying to tell Jessica how to run things. How to cook. How to raise Tyler and Maya and little Joshua. It is too much. We cannot live like this anymore." Jessica stepped forward and put her hand on Marcus' shoulder like she was the one who needed comfort. Like she was the victim here. "Margaret," she said, using my first name like we were equals. "We think it is time you found your own place. Maybe one of those nice senior living communities. They have activities and game nights. You would make friends your own age. It would be good for you." My chest felt so tight I could barely breathe. "Where am I supposed to go?" I whispered. "That is not really our problem anymore," Jessica said with ice in her voice. "You can stay with your sister in Florida for a while, cannot you? Just until you figure things out. My sister Linda lives in a tiny apartment in Tampa, barely making it on Social Security. She cannot even afford her medication half the time. But they did not care about that. I gave you everything," I said, looking straight at Marcus. "Everything I had. And we are grateful, Ma," he said, turning away from me. "But it is time for you to move on. We need an answer by Friday. Figure it out." They walked away. Just walked away and left me standing there with that laundry basket. My whole world was falling apart and they just walked away. Before I tell you what happened next, let me take you back. Let me tell you how I got here, because this did not happen overnight. This took years of small betrayals that I was too blind to see. My name is Margaret Rose Coleman, but everyone calls me Maggie. I am 74 years old and I worked as a certified nursing assistant for 48 years. I started when I was 18 and worked until I was 66. Night shifts, weekend shifts, holiday shifts. Whatever it took to take care of my boy. Marcus' father, David, left us when Marcus was 2 years old. Just vanished one Thursday afternoon while I was at work. No note. No explanation. No child support. Nothing. Just gone like smoke. So it was me and my baby against the world. I bought this house when Marcus was 3. It was not much back then. A small 2-bedroom place in a working-class neighborhood on the east side. But it was mine. I painted the walls myself in bright, cheerful colors. I planted flowers in the little front yard. I hung up pictures and made it feel like home. Marcus had his own room with superhero posters and toy cars everywhere. I had my room. And we had a tiny extra room that I used for storage and sewing. I raised that boy right. Took him to church every Sunday at Cedar Grove Baptist. Made sure he said yes ma'am and no ma'am. Taught him to respect his elders and work hard for what he wanted. He was such a good kid. Smart and kind and funny. Made good grades all through school. When he got accepted to State University, I cried for 3 days straight. My baby was going to college. My baby was going to have a better life than I ever had. I worked extra shifts to pay for everything. His tuition, his books, his dorm room, his meal plan, everything. I wore the same 3 pairs of scrubs for 5 years so he could have new clothes. I drove a car that broke down every other month so he could have a reliable one. I ate rice and beans for dinner so he could eat out with his friends. He graduated with a degree in business and I was there in the front row clapping so hard my hands hurt. He got a good job at a real estate company making more money than I ever dreamed of. That is when he met Jessica. Now I tried to like that girl. I really did. She came from money. Her daddy owned a chain of car dealerships. Her mama was a lawyer. They lived in a big house on the north side with a pool and a 3-car garage. Jessica was pretty. Always dressed nice in designer clothes. Always had her hair and nails done perfect. Always talked in that smooth, educated way. But something about her made me nervous from the very start. She smiled but her eyes stayed cold. She would say sweet things but there was a mean edge underneath. The first time I met her was at Sunday dinner at my house. Cooked all day. Made my famous pot roast with potatoes and carrots. Made my cornbread from scratch. Made my peach cobbler that everyone always loved. Jessica barely touched her food. She pushed it around her plate and made little faces when she thought I was not looking. "Baby, you do not like the food?" I asked her, trying to be kind. "Oh, it is fine," she said in that fake sweet voice. "I'm just watching my diet. Trying to stay healthy, you know." But later I saw her in the bathroom eating a protein bar from her fancy purse. After they got engaged, things started changing slowly. Marcus started coming around less. Started missing Sunday dinners. Started making excuses about why he could not visit. When I asked him about it, he said Jessica did not feel comfortable in my neighborhood. Said it was not safe for her. Not safe. The same neighborhood where I raised him for 20 years without a single problem. They got married at some expensive hotel downtown. The wedding cost more than I made in 3 years. Jessica's parents paid for most of it and they made sure everyone knew it. I wore my best dress. A burgundy one I saved up for months to buy. Jessica's mother looked at me like I was wearing rags from the thrift store. "How festive," she said with fake sweetness dripping from every word. But I smiled and held my head high. I was there for my son. That was all that mattered. A year after the wedding, Marcus came to me with a problem. He and Jessica wanted to start a business. A real estate investment company. But the bank wanted to see more assets before they would give the loan. "Ma, if you put your name on my house deed it would really help us," Marcus explained over coffee at my kitchen table. "It is just paperwork. The house stays yours. But it shows the bank I have family backing. It will help us get the loan approved." I should have said no. I should have talked to a lawyer. I should have asked more questions. But this was my son. My baby. My whole world. What kind of mother says no when her child needs help? So I went with him to the title company. Signed the papers they put in front of me. Put his name on the deed as co-owner of my house. The lawyer, a friend of Jessica's father, said it was all standard. Said I was still protected. Said it was just to help with the business loan. Said I could take his name off anytime I wanted. 3 months later Marcus told me the business deal fell through. Said the market was bad. Said they would try again next year. Meanwhile Jessica got pregnant with their first baby. She had a difficult pregnancy with morning sickness and bed rest. They asked if they could stay with me for a few months while she recovered. Just temporarily to save money. I said yes, of course. My grandbaby was coming. I wanted to help. I wanted to be close to my family. That was 6 years ago. 6 years of slowly being pushed out of my own house. Out of my own life. Started small. Jessica rearranging my kitchen cabinets because they did not make sense. Jessica suggesting I move to the smaller bedroom because they needed the master bedroom for the nursery. Jessica making comments about my cooking being too unhealthy and too fattening. Then bigger things started happening. Marcus stopped asking my opinion about anything. Stopped including me in family decisions. Stopped inviting me to family outings. When I tried to help with my grandkids, Jessica would swoop in and take over. She hired a nanny, a young girl named Amber, even though I was right there willing and able to help. "We need someone with proper training," Jessica said when I offered to watch the kids. "No offense, Margaret, but you are getting older and things have changed since you raised Marcus." Proper training. I raised a son by myself. Put him through college. And she was telling me I did not know how to watch children. Then one morning I woke up to find all my furniture from the living room piled in the garage. My couch that I had for 20 years. My coffee table that my daddy made with his own hands. My rocking chair that I rocked Marcus in when he was a baby. Jessica had bought all new furniture. White leather couches. Glass tables. Abstract art on the walls. Everything modern and cold and expensive. "Margaret, we are just updating the space," she said when I found her directing the delivery men. "Your old stuff was so dated. Do not worry, we will donate it somewhere. My furniture. My memories. Thrown out like garbage." That night I cried myself to sleep in the tiny bedroom that used to be my sewing room. I could hear Marcus and Jessica laughing in my old bedroom. Watching television. Living their life in my house like I did not even exist. I started noticing other things too. Mail coming for me that I never saw. Bills that looked different. Bank statements that did not match what I remembered. When I asked Marcus about it, he said he was handling my finances for me since I was getting older. Said it was easier this way. Said I did not need to worry about it. Getting older. Like I was losing my mind. Like I could not take care of myself. Last month I tried to use my debit card at the grocery store. It was declined. I tried again. Declined. I called the bank from the store parking lot, my hands shaking with embarrassment and confusion. "Mrs. Coleman," the bank representative said, "your account has been changed to require dual authorization. Any withdrawals or purchases over $50 need approval from both you and Marcus Coleman." "I never agreed to that," I said. "According to our records, you did. We have a signed authorization form on file. But I never signed anything. I would remember signing something like that. I am sorry, Mrs. Coleman, but that is what we have in our system. You will need to speak with Marcus Coleman about any changes." I sat in that parking lot for an hour trying to understand what was happening. Trying to figure out how my own son could do this to me. When I got home I tried to talk to Marcus about it. He was in the backyard playing with Tyler and Maya while Jessica sat on the porch scrolling through her phone. "Marcus, honey, we need to talk about my bank account," I said quietly. "Not now, Ma," he said, not even looking at me. "I am busy with the kids." "But Marcus, this is important. My card was declined today and the bank said you have control over my account. I never agreed to that." He finally looked at me and his face was hard. "Ma, you are almost 75 years old. You were making mistakes with your bills. Forgetting to pay things. I had to step in before you got into real trouble." "I never forgot to pay a bill in my life," I said, my voice rising. Jessica stood up from the porch. "Margaret, you are getting confused. This is exactly why we needed to help you. You cannot manage things on your own anymore." I felt like I was going crazy. Like they were making me doubt my own mind. That was a month ago. Since then things got worse. They started talking to me like I was a child. Telling me when to go to bed. What to eat. Where I could and could not go. And then came that morning. That terrible morning when Marcus stood in my bedroom doorway and said those words. "I am tired of you, Mom." After they walked away that day, I sat on the edge of the bed in that tiny room and stared at the wall. I thought about my whole life. All the sacrifices. All the love. All the years of putting him first. And for what? To be thrown away like trash. Something inside me shifted right then. Something hard and strong that I did not know I had. I thought about my mama who passed 15 years ago. She used to say, "Baby girl, never let anyone make you feel small. Especially not someone you gave everything to. If they cannot see your worth, then you show them. You show them what they lost." I picked up my old cell phone. The simple one that Marcus said was embarrassing, but I kept anyway because I knew how to use it. I scrolled through my contacts until I found a name I had not called in years. Ruth Patterson. Ruth used to work with me at the nursing home. She retired a few years before I did and went to work part-time at a legal aid office downtown. We lost touch over the years, but I remembered her saying, "Maggie, if you ever need help with anything legal, you call me. Family can turn on you faster than strangers. Protect yourself." My hand was shaking as I pressed call. "Hello." Ruth's voice was exactly like I remembered. Strong and clear and kind. "Ruth, it is Maggie Coleman from the nursing home." "Maggie girl, it has been forever. How are you doing?" "I need help," I said, and my voice broke. "I need legal help. It is about my house and my son, and I think I am in real trouble." There was a pause. Then Ruth said, "Do not say another word on this phone. Can you meet me tomorrow? There is a diner on 4th Street near the courthouse. Rosie Diner. 10 o'clock. Can you make it?" "Yes," I said. "But do not tell anyone you are meeting me. Not Marcus. Not Jessica. Nobody. Just come alone. And Maggie," she paused. "Whatever is happening, we are going to fix it. You hear me?" "Hear you." I hung up and sat there in the darkness. Outside my door, I could hear Jessica on the phone with one of her friends laughing about something. I heard Marcus telling the kids to get ready for bath time. Normal family sounds. Except I was not part of the family anymore. I was just a problem they wanted to get rid of. But I was not going down without a fight. The next morning I woke up early. I put on my Sunday clothes. A navy blue dress with matching shoes. I did my hair. Put on lipstick. Made myself look strong even though I felt like I was breaking apart inside. When I came out of my room, Jessica was in the kitchen making breakfast for the kids. "Where are you going all dressed up?" she asked with suspicion in her eyes. "Church event," I lied smoothly. "Helping with a food drive." She looked doubtful but shrugged. "Fine. Can you stop at the pharmacy and pick up my prescription on your way back?" I left the paper on the counter. She left the paper on the counter. In my house. Ordering me around like I was the help. "Sure," I said with a sweet smile. I drove my old car to Rosie Diner. My heart was pounding the whole way. I kept thinking about turning back. About just accepting my situation. About not making waves. But then I remembered those words. "I am tired of you, Mom." Well, I was not accepting this. Ruth was waiting at a back booth. She looked good. Her hair was gray now but cut in a stylish bob. She wore a professional-looking blazer and had reading glasses on a chain around her neck. She stood up when she saw me and we hugged tight. "Sit down, honey," she said. "I already ordered us coffee." We sat and I told her everything. About putting Marcus' name on the deed. About being pushed into the small bedroom. About my furniture being thrown away. About my bank account. About being told to leave my own house. Ruth listened to everything. Taking notes in a small notebook. Her face getting harder and harder as I talked. When I finished, she looked at me with fire in her eyes. "Maggie Coleman," she said, "your son is stealing from you. Him and that wife of his. They are pushing you out so they can take your house completely. This is elder abuse. This is financial exploitation. And if you do not act fast, you are going to lose everything." The words made my blood run cold. "What do?" I whispered. Ruth reached across the table and squeezed my hand. "First, we are going to see my boss. Her name is Diana Foster and she is the best elder law attorney in this city. Second, we are going to get copies of every document. A deed. Your bank statements. Everything. Third," she paused and looked at me hard. "Third, Maggie, you are going to have to be strong. This is going to get ugly. You are going to have to go against your own son. Can you do that?" I thought about Marcus as a little boy. Running to me with scraped knees. Crying in my arms when kids at school were mean to him. Hugging me tight on graduation day. Then I thought about the man who said he was tired of me. The man who let his wife throw out my memories. The man who took control of my bank account without asking. "Yes," I said. "Can do that." Ruth smiled fierce and proud. "Then let us go to war." We spent the next 4 hours at the legal aid office. Diana Foster was a thin white woman in her 50s with sharp eyes and a sharper mind. She listened to everything. Looked at every document I brought. Made phone calls. Finally she looked at me and said, "Mrs. Coleman, I am not going to sugarcoat this. You are in a bad situation. But it is not hopeless. You still legally own half the house. But we need to act immediately before they try to push you out completely or worse. What is the plan? I asked. We are going to file an emergency petition to protect your assets. We are going to freeze any changes to the property. We are going to get your bank account back in your control. We are going to investigate all financial transactions for the past 6 years. She paused and looked at me seriously. Mrs. Coleman, what do you want the outcome to be? Do you want to keep living there with them? Do you want them to leave? Do you want to sell the house? What do you want? Thought about it. Really thought about it. Did I want to stay in a house where people hated me? Did I want to fight to keep living in what had become a prison? I want my freedom back, I said quietly but firmly. I want my dignity back. I want to sell the house. Take my half. Start over somewhere new. Somewhere they can never hurt me again. Diana nodded slowly. That is possible. It will be complicated since Marcus is co-owner. But given what they have done, we can build a strong case. But Maggie, I need to warn you. Your son is not going to take this well. This is going to hurt. Good, I said, surprising myself. Let it hurt. That night I went back to the house. Back to that tiny room. Back to pretending everything was normal. But inside I was different. Inside I was steel. Played my part. Said yes to Jessica. Stayed quiet. Did not complain. And every day I met with Ruth and Diana. Filed papers. Gathered evidence. Built my case. 1 week after that first meeting, Marcus and Jessica were served with legal papers. It was a Tuesday afternoon. I was at the grocery store when it happened. My phone rang 4 times before I answered. It was Marcus and he was screaming. What did you do? What the hell did you do, Ma? I protected myself, I said calmly. You are suing us. Your own family. Are you out of your mind? No, baby, I said, and my voice was steady as a rock. For the first time in years I am thinking clearly. You cannot do this. This is our house. We have kids. Where are we supposed to go? This is my house, I said. Bought it. Paid for it. Your name is on the deed because I trusted you and made a mistake. But I am fixing that mistake now. Jessica grabbed the phone. You are a bitter old woman, she hissed. After everything we have done for you. What exactly have you done for me, Jessica? I asked. Besides throw away my furniture. Kick me out of my bedroom. Steal my money. Try to take my house. She did not have an answer for that. My lawyer will be in touch, I said. Do not call me again. Hung up. My hands were shaking, but I felt more alive than I had in years. The war had started. And I was not planning to lose. The first court hearing was on a Thursday morning in October. I wore my best outfit. The navy suit I bought for Marcus' college graduation. Ruth sat on one side of me. Diana Foster on the other. Across the courtroom, Marcus and Jessica sat with their lawyer. A slick-looking man in an expensive suit who kept checking his watch like he had better things to do. Marcus would not look at me. Not once. But Jessica stared at me with pure hatred in her eyes. The judge was an older black man named Judge Henry Crawford. He had gray hair and kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. He reminded me of my pastor back when I was young. Diana presented our case first. She had bank statements showing money taken from my account without permission. She had the original deed showing only my name. She had documents showing how Marcus was added under questionable circumstances. She even had a statement from my bank showing the dual authorization was set up without proper notification. Your Honor, Diana said in a strong, clear voice. Mrs. Coleman is a victim of elder financial abuse. Her son used her trust and love to take control of her assets. He isolated her in her own home, controlled her money, and then tried to force her out entirely. This is textbook exploitation. Marcus' lawyer stood up all smooth and charming. Your Honor, this is just a family disagreement blown out of proportion. Mr. Coleman was simply helping his elderly mother manage her finances because she was having difficulty with modern technology. The account changes were for her protection. I never agreed to it, I said loudly. Everyone turned to look at me. I never agreed to any of it. Judge Crawford looked at me over his glasses. Mrs. Coleman, you will have your turn to speak. Diana continued. Your Honor, we have evidence that Mrs. Coleman tried to access her account multiple times and was denied. We have evidence that her mail was intercepted. We have evidence that she was forced from her master bedroom into a small guest room. We have evidence that her personal belongings were discarded without consent. She laid it all out like pieces of a puzzle. Every wrong thing they did to me. Every hurt. Every theft. All documented. When it was my turn to testify, I stood up and told the truth plain and simple. I told about Marcus asking me to add his name to the deed. About being pushed into the small room. About my furniture in the trash. About Jessica treating me like hired help. And then I said, with my voice shaking just a little, my son looked at me and said he was tired of me. Like I was a burden. After I raised him alone. Put him through college. Gave him everything I had. He was tired of me. I saw Judge Crawford's jaw tighten. He understood. When Marcus testified, he tried to make it sound like I was the problem. Said I was getting forgetful. Said I was difficult to live with. Said Jessica was just trying to help modernize the house. My mother is elderly, Your Honor, Marcus said, trying to look sad. She is not thinking clearly. We were trying to protect her and plan for her future care. Judge Crawford leaned forward. Mr. Coleman, your mother is a retired nursing assistant who worked for nearly 50 years. She managed her own affairs successfully her entire life until you inserted yourself. Does that sound like someone who is not thinking clearly? Marcus did not have an answer. Judge Crawford made his ruling right there in the courtroom. I am granting Mrs. Coleman emergency relief. All changes to her bank account are reversed immediately. Mr. Coleman, you are prohibited from making any decisions about the property or Mrs. Coleman finances without her explicit written consent. Furthermore, I am ordering a complete financial audit of all transactions involving Mrs. Coleman accounts for the past 6 years. Jessica made a choking sound. Marcus' face went pale. We will reconvene in 30 days to review the audit results. Court is adjourned. As we left the courtroom, Marcus tried to approach me. Ma, please, can we just talk about this? No, I said, walking past him. Talk to my lawyer. Ruth put her arm around me as we walked out. You did so good, Maggie. So good. But the victory felt hollow. This was my son. My baby. And now we were enemies. The financial audit took 3 weeks. When the results came back, I could not believe what I was reading. Over the past 6 years, Marcus and Jessica had taken almost $90,000 from my accounts. $90,000. Small amounts at first. Few hundred here. 1,000 there. Then bigger chunks. 5,000. 10,000. 20,000. My life savings. My retirement money. Money I saved by eating cheap food and wearing old clothes and never buying anything nice for myself. They used it for vacations. New cars. Private school for the kids. Designer clothes for Jessica. Expensive furniture. Even plastic surgery for Jessica. The audit showed an $18,000 payment to a cosmetic surgery center. They lived the high life on my money while treating me like trash in my own house. $90,000, I whispered, staring at the papers in Diana's office. That is everything I saved. Everything. Diana nodded grimly. And there might be more we have not found yet. Cash withdrawals. Checks to friends. We are still investigating. What happens now? Ruth asked. Now, Diana said with a small hard smile. Now we push for everything. We are filing charges for financial elder abuse. And we are petitioning the court to force sale of the house, with Mrs. Coleman receiving more than half to compensate for the stolen money. Felt dizzy. My own son facing criminal charges. Maggie, Ruth touched my arm gently. You okay? No, I said honestly. But I will be. Word spread fast through my community. By Sunday, everyone at church knew about the lawsuit. I expected people to judge me. Expected them to say I was wrong for going after family. That is what family does, right? Forgives. Turns the other cheek. But that is not what happened. After service, Pastor Williams asked me to stay. He was a good man in his 60s who had been at Cedar Grove for 20 years. Sister Margaret. he said, taking both my hands in his. I want you to know this church stands with you 100%. What your son did is not right. It is not Christian. The Bible says honor your father and mother, and he has done the opposite. I started crying right there. I feel like I failed him, I sobbed. Like I raised him wrong. No, Pastor Williams said firmly. You raised him right. He chose to do wrong. That is on him, not you. And you have every right to protect yourself. Sister Betty, who ran the church food pantry, came over and hugged me. Baby girl, she said. Half the women in this church have children who mistreat them. You are just the first one brave enough to fight back. You are showing people that you do not have to accept abuse even from your own kids. Over the next few weeks, my church family surrounded me with love. Sister Betty organized a prayer group that met every Wednesday just for me. Brother James, who owned a small moving company, offered to help me move for free whenever I was ready. Sister Carol, who worked at a senior apartment complex, brought me brochures. You do not have to decide now, she said. But when you are ready, there are beautiful places out there. Safe places where you can start fresh. The most surprising support came from my neighbor 2 doors down. Her name was Patricia Monroe. We had waved to each other for years but never really talked. She was younger than me. Maybe in her early 50s. She worked as a social worker at the county office. One evening she knocked on my door. I was alone. Marcus and Jessica were staying at her parents' house to avoid me. Mrs. Coleman, she said when I opened the door. I am Patricia from down the street. I heard what is happening and I wanted to talk to you if that is okay. I let her in. We sat in the living room with Jessica's expensive furniture that I still felt uncomfortable touching. I am a social worker, Patricia explained. I work with elder abuse cases. Mrs. Coleman, what is happening to you happens every single day. Adult children who think their parents owe them everything. Who think they can just take over their parents' lives. I thought I was the only one, I admitted. I thought maybe I was being selfish, wanting my own house back. Selfish, Patricia shook her head hard. Mrs. Coleman, wanting respect and control over your own life is not selfish. It is your right. The fact that your son made you feel selfish for wanting it is manipulation. That is abuse. She pulled papers from her bag. These are resources, support groups, counseling services, legal aid. You do not have to use them, but I want you to know you have options. Thank you, I said, my throat tight with emotion. And Mrs. Coleman, she said, looking at me seriously. When this is over and you get your money back, do not feel guilty. You earned that money. You earned peace. Take it and live your best life. After she left, I sat in that cold, fancy living room and made a decision. When this was over, I was not just going to start over. I was going to thrive. The second court hearing was even more intense than the first. Diana presented the audit results, and Judge Crawford's face got darker with every page. Mr. Coleman, he said in a voice like thunder, you stole $90,000 from your mother. You manipulated her trust. You financially abused her. Do you have anything to say for yourself? Marcus stood up shaking. Your Honor, that money was for family expenses. For my children. Her grandchildren. Did Mrs. Coleman authorize these expenses? Well, no, but did she even know about most of them? Judge Crawford leaned back in his chair. Mr. Coleman, I am going to be clear. If this were anyone but your mother, you would be facing serious criminal charges right now. Mrs. Coleman has chosen not to pursue criminal prosecution, but that can change. That was not entirely true. Diana said criminal charges were still possible but would take years and cost money I did not have. I told her I just wanted my money back and my freedom. I did not want to see my son in jail even after everything. I am ordering the house to be sold immediately. Judge Crawford continued. The proceeds will be split, with Mrs. Coleman receiving 60% to compensate for the stolen funds. Mr. Coleman will receive 40%. Mrs. Coleman, you may remain in the property until sale or vacate sooner if you choose. Jessica jumped up furious. Your Honor, that is not fair. We have 3 children. Where are we supposed to go? Judge Crawford looked at her coldly. Mrs. Coleman, perhaps you should have thought about your children before you stole from your mother-in-law and treated her like a servant. This is about basic human decency, which you both seem to lack. He banged his gavel. Case closed. As we left, Marcus did not try to talk to me this time. He just stared with a look I could not read. Regret maybe. Or just anger at being caught. Jessica. Jessica looked at me with pure rage. This is not over, old woman, she hissed as she passed. You are going to regret this. Is that a threat? Ruth stepped between us. 'Cause there are witnesses here. Jessica stormed off, pulling Marcus with her. The house went on the market a week later. My realtor was a young man named Kevin who said it would sell fast. Good neighborhood. Good schools nearby. Good condition. Mrs. Coleman, at current market rates this house should sell for around $520,000, Kevin said, walking through with his camera. After all fees and commission, you are looking at about $300,000 in your pocket. That is enough to buy a nice place and have plenty left over. $300,000. More money than I ever thought I would have. I started packing immediately. I did not have much. Jessica had thrown away most of my things. But I packed my photo albums, my mama old Bible, my nursing certificate, the quilt my grandma made, the things that mattered. Marcus and Jessica moved out completely. They came once to get their stuff and we did not speak. Just moved around each other like strangers. But my grandbabies, Tyler and Maya and little Joshua, they were different. They had no idea what was happening. When they came to get their toys, Tyler, who was 8, hugged me tight. Grandma, are you going away? He asked. Yes, baby, I said, holding him close. But I will still be your grandma. I will always love you. Dad says you are being mean to us and taking our house. My heart broke into pieces. Baby, sometimes grown-ups have disagreements. But I love you more than anything. Do not ever forget that. Maya, who was 6, said quietly. Mommy says you are stealing from us. Kids, Jessica appeared in the doorway. Come here now. She pulled them away, shooting me a look full of hate. That night alone in the empty house, I cried harder than I had in years. Not for Marcus. Not for Jessica. But for those babies who were being taught to hate their grandma. But I could not stop now. I had to keep moving forward. The house got an offer within 10 days. A young family with 2 kids. They were so excited about their first home. When I met them at the showing, the young mother was glowing with happiness. Mrs. Coleman, she said, we're going to love this house so much. We are going to fill it with love and laughter. I hope you do, I said sincerely. This house deserves a happy family. The closing was scheduled for December 15th. 2 months away. 2 months until freedom. But Marcus and Jessica were not done fighting. 4 weeks before closing, Diana called with bad news. Maggie, they are trying to block the sale. They filed an appeal claiming the judge ruling was unfair and biased. Can they do that? I asked, feeling panic rise. They can try. It will not work. We have too much evidence. But it might delay things. Could be a few weeks. Could be longer. My blood pressure spiked. After everything, they were still trying to control me. Still trying to trap me. What do I do? Nothing. Let me handle it. Just stay calm. But I could not stay calm. I was done being passive. Done being a victim. I called Patricia, my social worker neighbor. If they delay the sale, can they force me to stay here forever? I asked. No, she said firmly. You have a court order. The sale will happen. But Margaret, I am worried about you. Are you safe? Are they threatening you? They are not here. But Patricia, I cannot live like this anymore. Waiting for the next attack. I need to end this. What are you thinking? I am thinking, I said slowly, that I need to remind them who they are dealing with. The next day I did something bold. Called Jessica mother. Linda Harper answered on the second ring, sounding annoyed. Hello. Mrs. Harper, this is Margaret Coleman. Marcus' mother. Long pause. What do you want? I want to talk about your daughter and what she has done to me. I do not know what you are talking about. Yes, you do. Your daughter and my son stole $90,000 from me. They threw me out of my bedroom. Treated me like a maid. And now they are teaching my grandchildren to hate me. Is that the kind of person you raised? Another pause. Then quietly. That is between you and them. No, Mrs. Harper. It is public record now. The court documents. The audit. Everything. Everyone can see what your daughter did. Everyone can know what kind of family you are. Are you threatening me? I am telling you the truth. I spent my whole life being nice, being quiet, being forgiving. I'm done. Tell your daughter to drop the appeal and let this sale go through. Or I will pursue criminal charges. I will make sure everyone knows what they did. Every friend, every neighbor, every person at their fancy country club. Cannot. Can and I will. I have got nothing left to lose, Mrs. Harper. But your daughter has her reputation, her social standing, her career. Tell her to back off or I go to war. Hung up. My hands shook but I felt powerful. 3 days later Diana called back. Maggie, you are not going to believe this. They dropped the appeal. Sale is going through as scheduled. Smiled. But what did you do? What I should have done years ago. I stood up for myself. The weeks before closing I used to prepare for my new life. I looked at apartments and condos. Met with financial advisors. Planned my future. Sister Betty helped me find a beautiful 2-bedroom condo in a senior community across town. It had a balcony with a view of a park. Community center with activities and classes. 24-hour security. Pool and gym. It is perfect, I said when I toured it. Absolutely perfect. You deserve perfect, Sister Betty said, hugging me tight. After everything you deserve the world. On December 14th, the night before closing, I stood in my empty house one last time. All my boxes were packed and ready. I walked through each room remembering. The kitchen where I cooked 1,000 meals. The living room where Marcus took his first steps. The bedroom where I cried so many nights. This house had been my dream once. My pride. My proof that I made something of myself. But it was not my dream anymore. My dream was freedom. A life where I was respected. I locked the door and spent the night at a hotel. Ready for tomorrow. The closing was at 9 in the morning. I dressed in my best outfit. Ruth and Diana came with me. Patricia came too for support. Marcus and Jessica were already there looking miserable. The young family buying the house looked nervous but excited. Papers were signed. Keys were handed over. The check was processed. $312,000. More money than I ever imagined having. As we walked out, Marcus finally spoke. Turned. I hope you are happy, he said bitterly. I looked at my son. This man I raised. This man I loved more than life. This man who threw me away. I will be, I said calmly. I'm going to be just fine. And I walked away. Walked toward my new life. But as I got in Ruth's car, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Opened it. You think this is over? You took everything from us. You are going to pay for this. We will make sure of it. My blood went cold. They were not done. I showed Ruth the message. We are going straight to the police, she said. Not yet, I said. Let them make their move. I want to see what they are planning. Margaret, are you sure? Patricia leaned forward from the back seat. This sounds serious. I'm sure. If they want to come at me, let them come. Have my money. Have my freedom. I have the law on my side. But that night in my hotel room I barely slept. Kept checking my phone. Expecting more threats. Nothing came. The next morning Brother James and his crew moved my things to my new condo. The place was everything I hoped for. Bright and clean and modern. Big windows. Beautiful view. This is real nice, Sister Margaret, Brother James said. You're going to be so happy here. I already am, I said and meant it. Over the next week I settled in. Bought new furniture. Hung my photos. Made it mine. The senior community was full of life. Exercise classes. Book clubs. Movie nights. Bingo games. I met my neighbors. Retired teachers and nurses and business owners. People who worked hard and were now enjoying life. I joined the morning walking group and met a woman named Doris who had been a nurse at a different hospital. We became instant friends. Girl, I heard about what happened with your son, Doris said one morning as we walked. I'm so sorry. Do not be sorry, I said. I'm better off now. That is the spirit. My son tried something similar years ago. Wanted me to sign over my house for tax reasons, he said. I told him the only thing I would sign was him out of my life if he kept it up. We laughed together. Felt like healing. But peace did not last. 2 weeks after I moved in, I got a call from my bank. Fraud alert. Someone tried to access your account using old information, the manager said. We blocked it immediately. But Mrs. Coleman, this is the 4th attempt this week. Someone is really trying to get to your money. I knew who it was. I called Diana. They are trying to steal from me again. I will file for a restraining order immediately, Diana said. Maggie, I really think it is time for criminal charges. They are not going to stop. Not yet. Let me try something first. That Sunday I went to church like always. But I had a plan. After service, Pastor Williams made an announcement. We have a special testimony today from Sister Margaret Coleman. Come on up, Sister Margaret. I walked to the front, my heart pounding. Over 200 people in the congregation. People who knew me and Marcus for years. Good morning, church, I said into the microphone. Good morning, they responded. Some of you know what I have been through these past months. My son and his wife tried to take everything from me. My house, my savings, my dignity. They treated me like I was nothing after I gave them everything. People nodded, murmured agreement. But I want you to know I do not regret fighting back. I do not regret standing up for myself. Because what they did was not just wrong. It was evil. And we cannot let evil win just because it comes from family. And Sister Betty called out. The Bible says honor your father and mother. It also says you reap what you sow. My son is reaping now. And I want everyone here to know I am not the villain. I am not the one who abandoned family. I am the one who refused to be a victim. The church erupted. People stood clapping and shouting encouragement. Preach, Sister Margaret. Tell it. That is right. After service, 20 people came to hug me. Tell me their stories. Of children who stole from them. Of feeling helpless and ashamed. You gave me courage, one elderly woman said, crying. My daughter has been taking my Social Security for years and I was too scared to say anything. But watching you fight back made me realize I can too. That is when I understood. This was bigger than me. I was speaking for everyone who had been abused by their own children. Everyone who felt trapped and alone. Word spread fast. By Tuesday, a local news reporter called. Mrs. Coleman, my name is Andrea Martinez from Channel 5 News. I heard about your case and would love to interview you. We are doing a special on elder financial abuse. Your story could help so many people. You want to put me on television? I asked, surprised. Yes, ma'am. Would you be interested? I thought about Marcus and Jessica seeing me on TV. Thought about everyone knowing what they did. Yes, I said. I will do it. The interview aired the following Thursday. Andrea was professional and kind. She showed documents from the case. Showed the audit results. Let me tell my story. My son looked at me and said he was tired of me, I said on camera. After I raised him alone. Put him through college. Loved him with everything I had. He was tired of me. And I realized love is not enough. You can love someone completely and they can still treat you terribly. When that happens, you have to love yourself more. The segment went viral. Within hours it was everywhere. Shared thousands of times. Ruth showed me on her phone. You are a hero to so many people, she said. But not everyone thought so. That night Linda Harper called screaming. Do you know what you have done? My daughter is being harassed online. People are calling her horrible names. Her job is asking questions. You ruined her life. No, I said calmly. She ruined her own life when she stole from me. I just told the truth. You vindictive old woman. Mrs. Harper. Your daughter sent threatening messages. Tried to hack my bank account. Has been harassing me even after court orders. Should I tell Channel 5 about that too? 'Cause I will. Silence. Leave me alone, I said. All of you. Or I promise I will press criminal charges. Then it will not just be embarrassment. It will be jail time. I hung up shaking but feeling powerful. The next day Diana called. Maggie, they want to settle. Marcus and Jessica are offering a legal agreement. Complete no contact in exchange for no criminal charges. What kind of agreement? They stay away from you permanently. No calls. No visits. No contact with your accounts. Violation means immediate prosecution. And my grandchildren, I asked quietly. That is the difficult part. They want the children included in the no-contact order. My heart broke. So I would never see Tyler and Maya and Joshua again. Not until they are adults and can decide for themselves. Maggie, I know this is hard, but they have proven they will use those kids as weapons. This might be your only protection. I thought about Tyler, little arms around me. Maya's sweet smile. Joshua, baby laugh. But then I thought about years of Jessica poisoning them against me. Using them to hurt me. Sometimes you have to let go to survive. Okay, I said, my voice breaking. I will sign. The final meeting was at Diana's office. Marcus and Jessica came with their lawyer. We all sat in the same room for the first time since court. Marcus looked awful. Like he aged 20 years. Thin and tired with dark circles under his eyes. Jessica looked angry but scared. The lawyers explained everything. No contact. No communication. No access to my money. Violation meant criminal charges. When it was time to sign, Marcus finally looked at me. Ma, he said, and his voice cracked. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for everything. I looked at my son. Really looked at him. And despite everything, I still saw the little boy I raised. The one I loved so much. But love does not mean letting someone destroy you. I forgive you, I said quietly. But I do not trust you. And I will not let you hurt me again. He started crying. Real tears. I messed up, Ma. I let Jessica, I let money, I do not know how it happened. You made choices, I said. You chose her over me. You chose greed over love. Those were your choices, Marcus. Not mine. Can we fix this somehow? Start over. Maybe someday, I said. When you have changed. When you have become the man I raised you to be. But not now. Now I need peace. We signed the papers. It was done. As they left, Jessica glared at me one last time. But Marcus turned back. I love you, Ma. I love you too, baby, I said. But loving you from far away is the only way I can survive. That was the last time I saw him. Life got better after that. So much better. I threw myself into my new community. Volunteered at the food pantry with Sister Betty. Joined book club and made friends. Took a painting class and discovered I had talent. I traveled too. Visited my sister in Florida for 3 weeks. We laughed and cried and healed together. Went to Charleston and walked on the beach feeling the ocean breeze. Flew to New Orleans and ate amazing food and listened to jazz music. I spent money on myself for the first time ever. Got my hair done at a real salon. Bought nice clothes. Treated myself to good restaurants and shows. I was 74 years old and living like I was young again. 8 months after the settlement, a letter arrived. No return address, but I knew Marcus' handwriting. Inside was 1 page. Emma, I am in therapy now. Have been for 6 months. Jessica and I separated. She moved to Arizona. I have full custody of the kids. I am learning about what I did. How I hurt you. My therapist says I have a long way to go before I can even ask for forgiveness. So I am not asking. I just want you to know I see it now. I see what I became. I am trying to be better. Not for you. For me. For my kids. So they never treat anyone the way I treated you. I hope you are happy, Ma. I hope you are living your best life. You deserve everything good. Love, Marcus. I read it 3 times. Then folded it carefully and put it in my memory box with his baby photos. Maybe someday we would reconcile. Maybe someday he would change. But that was his journey. Mine was complete. 1 year after leaving that house, I stood on my balcony watching the sunset. The sky was painted orange and pink and purple. Beautiful beyond words. My phone rang. It was Doris. Girl, you busy tonight? Never too busy for you. Good, because me and some ladies from the walking group are going to that new dinner theater downtown. You in? Absolutely. What time? 7. Wear something nice. I hung up smiling and went to my closet. Looked at all my beautiful clothes. Picked an emerald green dress that made me feel like royalty. As I got ready, I caught my reflection. I looked different than a year ago. Lighter. Happier. Free. I thought about everything. The betrayal. Pain. The fight. The victory. And I thought about where I was now. Independent. Strong. Surrounded by real love. Living the life I deserved. Sometimes the people you love most hurt you worst. Sometimes family betrays you. Sometimes the ones you sacrifice everything for throw you away. But that does not mean you stay thrown away. You can stand up. You can fight back. You can reclaim your life. You can be free. I grabbed my purse and headed out. My new life was waiting. 18 months later, on a regular Wednesday, I was at the farmer's market when I heard a voice. Grandma. I turned and saw him. Taylor. 10 years old now. Taller. Looking so much like Marcus at that age. He was with Marcus, who looked healthier than before. Calmer. More at peace. Tyler ran to me and hugged me tight. I missed you so much, Grandma. I hugged him back, tears streaming down my face. I missed you too, baby. So much. Marcus walked over slowly. I know we are not supposed to have contact. The agreement. But when he saw you, I could not stop him. It is okay, I said. It is okay. We stood there in the farmer's market and Marcus told me everything. How he had been in therapy for over a year. How he and Jessica divorced. How he had the kids full time. How he finally understood what he did. I do not expect forgiveness, Ma, he said. I do not deserve it. But I am teaching the kids the truth. About what I did. About how wrong I was. About how amazing you are. Grandma, Dad says you are the strongest person in the world, Tyler said, looking up at me with bright eyes. I looked at my son and saw real change. Real growth. Real remorse. Come to dinner, I said. This Sunday. Bring all 3 kids. Let me cook for my grandbabies. Marcus' eyes filled with tears. Really? Really? But Marcus, I am not going back to who I was. I am not sacrificing myself again. If you want to be in my life, it is on my terms. You understand? Yes, ma'am, he said. I understand completely. That Sunday they came to my condo. Tyler and Maya and little Joshua, who was 6 now and so big. Joshua was shy at first but warmed up when I showed him the toy cars I bought just in case. I cooked dinner. My fried chicken. My mac and cheese. My greens. My cornbread. All the foods they loved. We sat around my table and talked. Really talked. It was not perfect. There was still hurt. Still caution. Still distance. But it was a beginning. A small step toward healing. As they left, Marcus hugged me at the door. Thank you, Ma. For giving me another chance. I never gave up on you, baby, I said. I gave up on letting you destroy me. There is a difference. He nodded, understanding. After they left, I cleaned up and sat on my balcony with tea, watching the stars come out. I thought about the woman I was 2 years ago. Broken. Tired. Trapped. And the woman I was now. Free. Strong. Whole. The journey was not easy. But it was worth every step. 2 years and 3 months after everything started, I got an invitation in the mail. Tyler was graduating from elementary school with honors. The ceremony was on a Friday afternoon. I wore my best dress and sat in the audience. Marcus was there with Maya and Joshua. He saved me a seat next to them. When Tyler walked across the stage to get his certificate, he looked right at me and smiled. The biggest, proudest smile. After the ceremony, he ran to me. Grandma, did you see? Did you see me? I saw you, baby, I said, hugging him. I'm so proud of you. Marcus walked over with the other kids. Ma, can we take you to dinner? To celebrate? Please. I would love that, I said. We went to a family restaurant. Nothing fancy but warm and loud and full of life. Over burgers and fries, Tyler talked about middle school. Maya talked about her dance classes. Joshua showed me his drawings. And Marcus was different. Humble. Grateful. Present. Ma, he said quietly while the kids were playing in the arcade section. I know I can never make up for what I did. Never fully repair the damage. But I want you to know I am trying. Every single day I am trying to be the man you raised me to be. I know, baby, I said. Can see it. Jessica wanted to come back, he said. Wanted to reconcile. But I said no. I told her what we did to you was unforgivable. That I had to focus on being better for my kids. She was not happy, but I do not care anymore. I care about doing right. I am proud of you, I said, and meant it. That night driving home, I thought about forgiveness. About second chances. About healing. The truth is, some wounds never fully heal. Some betrayals leave permanent scars. But that does not mean you cannot move forward. Does not mean you cannot find peace. 3 years after leaving that house, I was thriving. I had my condo, my savings, my community, my freedom. I saw Marcus and the grandkids regularly now. Sunday dinners at my place. Birthday celebrations. School events. But I also had boundaries. Strong ones. They could not just drop by. Could not ask for money. Could not make demands. And Marcus respected that. Actually respected it. One Sunday after dinner, Marcus asked to talk to me privately. We sat on my balcony while the kids watched a movie inside. I've been thinking, he said, about making amends. Real amends. Not just words but actions. What do you mean? He pulled out an envelope. Inside was a check. For $90,000. This is everything we took from you. Every penny. I've been saving for 2 years. Working extra hours. Selling things. Whatever it took. It is yours. I know it does not fix anything, but it is a start. I stared at the check. $90,000. Marcus, I whispered. You were right, Ma. About everything. What we did was theft. Was abuse. And I am making it right. Not because a judge ordered it. Because it is what I should have done from the beginning. I took the check with shaking hands. Thank you, baby. We sat in silence for a while. Then Marcus said quietly, do you think you will ever fully forgive me? I do not know, I said honestly. Some hurts go too deep. But I am trying. Every day I am trying. That is all I can ask for. 4 years after everything started, I was at the senior center for game night when Sister Betty pulled me aside. Margaret, can I talk to you for a minute? Course. We sat in a quiet corner. You know that testimony you gave at church years ago? About standing up for yourself. Well, there is a woman at my job. Her daughter is stealing from her. Controlling her life. And she is too scared to do anything about it. I told her about you. Would you be willing to talk to her? To share your story? Thought about it. About how scared I was 4 years ago. About how alone I felt. Yes, I said. I will talk to her. That conversation turned into more conversations. I started speaking at senior centers and churches. Sharing my story. Helping others find the courage to stand up. I became an advocate. A voice for elder abuse victims. Working with Patricia and legal aid to help people protect themselves. Gave my life new purpose. New meaning. 5 years after leaving that house on a beautiful spring morning, I woke up in my condo and smiled. Just smiled at the ceiling. I was 79 years old. Healthy. Happy. Free. I had my community. My grandkids. My advocacy work. My peace. Later that day Marcus called. Ma, can I come by? I have something to show you. Sure, baby. He arrived an hour later alone. In his hand was a thick notebook. What is this, I asked. My journal, he said. From therapy. 5 years of working on myself. Understanding what I did. Why I did it. How to be better. He opened it and showed me pages filled with his handwriting. Reflections. Apologies. Growth. I want you to have this, he said. Not because I need you to read it. But because I want you to know how hard I have worked. How much I have changed. I took the journal carefully. Thank you, Marcus. Ma, there is something else. I started a foundation. For elder abuse prevention. In your name. The Margaret Coleman Foundation. We are raising money to provide legal aid for seniors. To educate families. To prevent what I did to you from happening to others. I stared at him. You did what? Cannot undo the past. But I can try to create a better future. This is my way of honoring you. Of making something good come from something terrible. Tears streamed down my face. Marcus. We hugged. Really hugged for the first time in years. I am so sorry, Ma, he whispered. For everything. I'm so sorry. I know, baby. You know. 6 years after leaving that house, I stood at a podium in front of 200 people. It was the first annual Margaret Coleman Foundation fundraiser. I looked out at the crowd. My church family. My senior center friends. Patricia and Diana and Ruth. Marcus and the grandkids in the front row. And I told my story. All of it. The betrayal. Pain. The fight. The healing. Some of you know what it is like to be hurt by the people you love most, I said. To feel helpless and alone. To think you have no options. But I want you to know you are not alone. You are not helpless. You have power. You have rights. You have worth. Do not let anyone make you feel small. Not even family. Especially not family. Stand up. Fight back. Reclaim your life. Because you deserve respect. You deserve dignity. You deserve peace. The crowd stood and applauded. Many were crying. After the event, Tyler, who was 13 now, came up to me. "Grandma, you are like a superhero," he said. "You are so brave." "No, baby," I said. "I am just a woman who refused to stay broken." That is not being a superhero. That is being human. 7 years after everything, I sat on my balcony on a warm summer evening. I had just gotten off the phone with Maya, who called to tell me about making the cheerleading squad. I looked at my life and felt overwhelming gratitude. I had survived. More than survived. I had thrived. My story had helped dozens of other seniors escape abuse. The foundation was growing. Marcus had truly changed. My grandkids knew the truth and loved me. I had my freedom. My dignity. My peace. Was it hard? The hardest thing I ever did. Was it worth it? Absolutely. Because I learned something important through it all. You teach people how to treat you. And when you accept less than you deserve, you lose yourself piece by piece. But when you stand up, when you fight back, when you refuse to be a victim, you reclaim not just your life but your soul. I'm 79 years old now. And I have never been happier. My son said he was tired of me. And that broke my heart. But it also set me free. And freedom, real freedom, is worth everything.